Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Yes, welcome back.
Today we're tackling something pretty important, I think.
Yeah.
How to talk to someone about their mental health.
It's a big one.
It is a big one.
Yeah.
And we've got an excerpt from the Health Buzz podcast to kind of guide us through this.
Yeah, they have some great stuff.
Yeah, I love podcasts, but sometimes you need that extra layer, right?
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes you just need someone to break it down.
Yeah.
Make it a little more.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the deep dive is all about.
But it's interesting because this is something that I think everyone listening encounters at some point,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Statistically speaking, you probably know someone right now who's going through a mental health challenge.
Wait, statistically speaking, really?
Yeah, the World Health Organization actually reports that 1 in 8 people globally are living with a mental health condition.
Wow.
That's a huge number.
That's a lot.
It's a reminder that these challenges are way more common than we think.
Wow, 1 in 8.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It is.
And you know what? I bet you're right.
Yeah.
Most of us, Dee, probably know somebody
Right.
who's struggling with something, but there's just this I don't know, there's this fear, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Or there's a stigma or something that makes it
Yeah.
so hard to even bring up.
Oh, totally. It can feel really scary to even approach the topic.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why it's so important to be able to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Think back to the example from the podcast about Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
That friend who's become withdrawn. She's canceling plans, not her usual self.
Right.
Everyone's worried but hesitant to say anything.
Oof, it's the worst.
Yeah, we've all been there, either as the Sarah or the worried friend.
Totally, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's okay, we know we should talk about it,
Yeah.
but how do we do that?
Right. How do we actually get past that fear and have these conversations in a way that's actually helpful?
That's the question.
That is the question.
Right.
And the Health Buzz podcast, I think, really nails it with that hiking analogy they use.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Love it.
They said, you wouldn't just hit the trail without the right gear and a map.
Okay. Fine.
Same goes for these conversations. You need to be prepared.
Okay, I like that. What kind of gear are we talking about here?
Well, they highlight 3 key things.
Okay.
The first one is choosing the right setting.
Okay.
Think about it. Would you rather have a heart-to-heart in a crowded coffee shop or a quiet park bench?
Ooh, good point.
Yeah. It's about creating a space where the other person feels safe and comfortable opening up.
Yeah, you're setting the stage.
Exactly.
Okay, so setting.
Setting is number 1.
What's the next piece of gear?
Doing a bit of research beforehand.
Okay.
Now, you don't need to become a psychology expert overnight,
Right.
but even a little understanding of common mental health challenges can boost your confidence going into the conversation.
Okay, so if I think my friend might be dealing with anxiety, for example,
Yeah.
I can look up basic information about anxiety symptoms from a reputable source, right? Like NEMI.
Exactly.
Okay.
And remember, this isn't about diagnosing anyone.
Right.
It's about being a more informed and supportive friend.
Gotcha. Okay, so we got the setting, we got some background knowledge.
Uh-huh.
What's our last piece of gear here?
This one's crucial, being genuine.
Okay.
Forget scripts or rehearsed lines.
Okay.
Just approach the conversation with authentic concern, free of judgment.
Okay.
Let the other person know you genuinely care.
Got it. Authenticity.
Authenticity, yeah.
Check. Okay. So I'm prepped. I got my gear.
Right.
I'm ready to go. But now comes the scary part, right?
Yes.
Actually, starting the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is where a lot of people freeze up. It's
Yeah.
where do I even begin?
It's understandable that initial hurdle can feel huge. But the Health Buzz podcast offers some great conversation starters
Okay.
Hey, I've noticed you haven't seemed like yourself lately, or is there anything you want to talk about? I'm here for you.
I like that it's direct, but not
Right.
pushy.
Exactly. It's an invitation, not an interrogation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But what if they're just don't worry about it?
Yes, the classic brush off.
Yeah, like Sarah did in the podcast.
Right. Well, it's important to remember you can't force someone to open up.
Right.
But you can create a space where they feel safe to do so when they're ready.
Okay.
So instead of pushing, try something like, I understand if you don't want to talk right now, but I want you to know I'm here for you whenever you are.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
It's gentle,
It is gentle.
but reassuring.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're not dismissing their feelings, but you're also respecting their boundaries.
I like it. All right, so we started the conversation.
Okay.
Now what?
Now we listen.
Okay.
And I mean, truly listen without judgment.
Ooh, that's hard.
It's where a lot of well-intentioned conversations can go off track.
It is, because it's so easy to jump into advice mode.
Oh, it's so tempting.
Right. It's like, oh, I know what you should do.
Yes, but what they really need in that moment is to just feel heard.
Yeah.
So active listening is key here.
Right. Active listening. What that?
So it's about making eye contact, offering those nonverbal cues like nodding,
Uh-huh.
and even using simple verbal affirmations, things
Yeah.
like, I see, or that sounds really tough,
Okay.
can make a world of difference.
So it's like you're showing them that you're with them.
Exactly. You're fully present and engaged with what they're saying.
I like it. And this is where Health Buzz brings up a really important point about giving advice.
Oh, yeah.
They say it can actually be counterproductive,
It can be.
even if you mean well.
Even if you have the best intentions, because offering advice can sometimes make the other person feel like we're not really listening. Like,
Yeah.
we're more focused on finding solutions than understanding their experience.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So instead of jumping in with all the, you should try this, and have you thought about that?
Right.
What are some better ways to respond?
Well, the Health Buzz folks emphasize the power of validation,
Okay.
saying things like, it's okay to feel this way, or your feelings make total sense given what you're going through, can be incredibly powerful.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
You're not, like, negating what they're going through.
Exactly. It acknowledges the validity of their emotional experience without judgment or the pressure to fix anything.
It's like you're saying, I see you, I hear you, and your feelings are legitimate.
Exactly.
I can see how that would make someone feel so much more comfortable.
It allows the other person to feel seen and understood,
Yep.
which is often more valuable than any advice we could offer.
That's so true. You know, as you're talking about this validation thing,
Yeah.
I'm realizing, like, this is something I've struggled with, even with, like, you know, people I'm really close to.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is, because I think I'm being helpful by, like, offering solutions. But now I'm seeing how that can actually, like,
Yeah.
shut down the conversation
You can.
and make them feel like I'm not really listening.
That's a really common experience. I think
Yeah.
we often want to fix things for the people we care about.
Totally.
But sometimes the most supportive thing we can do is simply be present and listen without judgment.
You're so right. Okay, so we're listening.
Yeah.
We're validating.
Uh-huh.
But what about those times when we're listening and we realize, like, oh, this is more serious than I thought?
Right.
What if they're talking about, like, you know, feeling really hopeless or even suicidal?
That's when knowing when to encourage professional help becomes crucial.
Okay.
And the Health Buzz podcast does a great job of outlining how to approach this sensitive topic.
I remember they suggested phrases like, have you thought about talking to a counselor? They might be able to offer some additional support.
Exactly. Or, I'm here to help you find someone to talk to if you think that would be helpful.
Yeah, it's like an offer, not an order.
Exactly. It's framing it as support rather than a directive.
I like that. And they also give, like, a bunch of concrete resources,
They do.
like crisis hotlines and text lines,
Yes.
which I thought was so helpful, because it's like, okay, here's the information.
Here
are the tools. You're not alone.
Exactly. It empowers the listener to take action, whether for themselves or for someone they care about.
You know, this deep dive is making me rethink, like, how I approach these conversations.
Uh-huh.
Because before, I always thought of it as like a one-time thing.
Okay.
Like, okay, I'm going to have this tough conversation, check it off my list, hope for the best.
Right.
But now I'm seeing, like, it's more about creating this, like,
Yes.
ongoing culture of support.
I love that you're making that connection. That's exactly what I think this episode is all about.
Yeah.
You know, they mentioned that 1 in 8 people globally,
Like with that statistic.
yes, from the World Health Organization, are dealing with mental health challenges.
Right.
And if that number is so significant, it means this isn't just an individual issue.
Right.
It's a societal one. We need to shift from simply reacting to mental health struggles to proactively creating a culture where those struggles are acknowledged and supported.
So we need to move beyond just, like, the individual conversation.
Yes.
And think about the bigger picture.
Exactly. Imagine a world where talking about mental health is as normal as talking about physical health.
Yeah.
Where seeking help is seen as a sign of strength, not weakness.
I love
And that starts with each of us.
powerful stuff.
I know.
Okay, so we're all responsible for creating that culture.
We are.
And these tools that we're talking about, like active listening, knowing how to encourage professional help,
Yes.
those are like the building blocks.
They are. By learning these skills, we're not just becoming better friends or family members.
Yeah.
We're becoming advocates for a more open and compassionate society.
I love it. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. How to talk to someone about their mental health has been so important.
It really has. We've covered so much ground.
We have.
Yeah.
From like active listening to knowing when to encourage professional help and all that.
Yeah, all the tools, all the tips.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to shift gears a bit as we wrap up
Yeah.
and talk about like what we can do as individuals and as a community to create a culture where these conversations are like
Yes.
easier and more normalized.
I love that it's like thinking bigger.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we change the whole landscape?
Exactly. And it starts with recognizing that mental health is just as important as physical health.
Yeah, like why should it be any different?
Exactly. Seeking help shouldn't be seen as a weakness.
Right.
It's a sign of strength.
It's like we were saying earlier, if 1 in 8 people globally are facing these challenges,
Yeah, that powerful statistic.
then this isn't just a personal issue, it's a societal one.
100%. And that means we need to address it on a societal level.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we create spaces where people feel safe talking openly about their struggles?
It's a great question, and I think it starts with education.
Okay.
The more we understand about mental health,
Uh-huh.
the less stigma there will be.
So it's on each of us to like learn more.
Yes, we can read books, listen to podcasts like Health Buzz,
Right.
attend workshops,
Okay.
share accurate information with others.
So we all have a responsibility to get informed and then spread that knowledge.
Exactly.
What else can we do?
Well, we can be mindful of our language, avoiding those casual phrases that trivialize mental health struggles.
Right.
You know how many times have you heard someone say, "That's so crazy," or "You're being bipolar"?
Oh, all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about becoming more aware of the impact our words can have.
It's like you think you're just,
Yeah.
making a joke.
But those words can actually be really hurtful.
Yeah, you're right. And it's not
Gotcha.
just about the words we use, right? It's about actions too.
Absolutely. It's about being allies and advocates.
Okay.
If we see someone being treated unfairly because of their mental health, we need to speak up.
It's like we need to be upstanders.
Yes, we need to challenge that discrimination and create a more inclusive environment.
Yeah, it takes courage to speak up. But like even small acts can make a difference.
They really can imagine the impact we could have if we all committed to speaking up.
Wow, this has been so eye-opening.
It's been a powerful conversation.
I feel like I'm walking away with like a whole new perspective on how to approach this
I'm so glad.
and how to contribute to creating like a more compassionate world.
That's what it's all about.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave everyone listening with this. You don't have to be a therapist to make a difference in someone's life.
So true.
A listening ear,
Yeah,
a kind word, a genuine offer of support,
those things are powerful.
it can be huge.
They can.
And remember, you're not alone in this. There are tons of resources available.
Yes. Like the ones mentioned in the Health Buzz podcast.
Use them. Share what you've learned with others.
Exactly.
Let's work together to create a world where everyone feels supported and valued.
That's the dream.
That's what we're all about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.